In the years since that attack, in some of America's largest cities, hate crimes have surged.
Reports of hate crimes are up across all minority groups. But according to the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism, Asian Americans are seeing the biggest spike.
Assaults against Asians went up a staggering 260% between 2020 and 2021. The NYPD alone finding a 360% increase in incidents among the boroughs.
Recent spikes in Asian American hate have been beyond noticeable across the United States, but especially in New York City. Following COVID-19, the presence of such crimes have increased exponentially. Many victims are targeted are elderly Asian Americans as well. Anti-Asian rhetoric surrounding the pandemic escalated these racially charged attacks even more. Within the community of Manhattan's Chinatown, these crimes have jumped from 30 incidents in 2020 to 133 within the last year. Working as a community is the most reasonable course of action to take when combating these crimes. Manhattan's Chinatown has various nonprofits and organizations that help spread awareness. To truly understand what's going on, it's important to comprehend the perspectives of those who live in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I come down to Chinatown almost every weekend.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see it every day on the news, right? There's some woman getting pushed on a train and then a girl being followed home and was eventually killed. It's incredibly saddening.
I think it's more awareness and more like the training that they're doing with the pepper spray. But I think, in fact, not just giving out pepper spray, but like showing people how to use it, and then just making people feel more safe. And we do like different like subway walks or like Chinatown block watches, or even just delivering food to seniors who don't want to leave their house. I just feel that everyone's like all hands on deck, and everyone is just to come together and help each other out.
I think we have to come together as a community. We gotta take care of one another, like look out for someone that needs help, and this is the only way, because I think if we don't look out for each other, everybody just eventually you're going to be the one being pushed down the train and being followed home.
I think awareness is really big because, people are still in disbelief that it's happening. And also events like this where they're preparing people with defensive tactics, pepper spray, sound like alarms, just anything that you could do to help watch each other's back has been good. And I feel like in New York, people have been more cognizant to be aware of if there's a single elderly Asian person alone, to be making sure that they're watched out for. Yeah. I know through social media, not personally anyone, but yeah, through the news, social media, seeing all the subway attacks and the street attacks, and they've been happening close to where I work, so yeah.
Yeah, reach out to solvehate.org. We have an email. Reach out to us. Whether you have some you need therapy, mental therapy for it, we provide reimbursements for your therapy fund if you are financially inadequate to receive it. And also, we also give out safety devices to make you feel safer, like pepper sprays or personal alarms.
Yes, I think it shows unity. No one's going to come down here and just attack 300 people at once. So I think anytime you can come together and show just the unity and the strength, and have even the different sectors, like the Filipino food, or we had Korean coffee cake, or it's more than just like Chinatown. So.
My name is John Chen. I'm from Boston. I'm from Chinatown primarily, and I've volunteered in Chinatown Main Street in Boston, and what we do is we help distribute foods, affordable foods, to the elderly in Boston who cannot sustain for themselves. We set up events for Chinatown, and we clean up the streets afterwards too. Personally, I haven't, but I have heard stories of it. A friend of mine, actually, their grandma has been assaulted before. They were on a bike going home, and they've been pushed off their bike just out of spite. Not even an actual reason behind it. I believe that the way we can spread awareness is through social media, through volunteering, through events. I believe that this will garner a lot of attention.
After interviewing community members, the solution was much clearer. The problem is not something that is easy to stop or target, but rather something that everyone has to work towards. From all the community members' interviews, one solution was in common among all of them: awareness. As a community, Chinatown has to come together to host these various events that promote awareness. Spreading awareness so everyone is knowledgeable that such crimes are occurring is very important to stopping these crimes. On top of this, providing assistance to those who are less fortunate is a part of the solution too. Whether that be distribution of safety devices or various free self-defense training courses, it all builds awareness. New York City has experienced the largest spike in Asian American hate crimes, but it's also important to note that many other cities in the United States are experiencing this spike too, which includes cities such as San Francisco or Boston. The increase in anti-Asian hate crimes since the beginning of the pandemic is undeniable. This includes actions from former President Donald J. Trump, where he propagated anti-Asian sentiment. For example, in San Francisco, California, an 84-year-old Thai man was pushed to the ground out of spite. A 91-year-old Asian man was assaulted in Oakland, California. A 64-year-old Asian woman was robbed outside a market in San Jose, California. A 61-year-old Filipino man was slashed across the face on the subway in New York City. Despite an overall decrease of 7% for hate crimes, specifically anti-Asian hate crimes spiked 149% across 16 of America's largest cities between 2019 and 2020, with a majority of these crimes being motivated by race. The crimes committed against Asian Americans are mostly through verbal harassment. A large part is also physical assault or avoidance due to race. The rest of the crimes are either at workplaces or online. More than 35% of these incidents were at businesses. A horrifying statistic is that more than half of 1,500 Asian Americans who were surveyed said they were worried about recent spikes in Asian American hate crimes. Overall, the presence of Asian American hate in Manhattan's Chinatown is still in duration today. It is important to recognize the issues present across the United States and to work together as communities to spread awareness.